As Simon said, we have a multi-campus church. So we have a bunch of sites, and the founder of Church Boom. We started Church Boom several years ago. It is a organization that's coached pastors and rescues churches. And matter of fact, we do coaching groups, and we have new groups that are starting the week of May 11th. And so this week I'll be getting Simon a link, Simon, and you can send it to everybody. And everybody, that special link will allow you to sign up for free. So you don't have to pay nothing. It's 1 year of coaching, absolutely free. And from some of the greatest pastors in America, and it will help you become a better leader, help you grow your church. So you can always go to churchboom.org, but Simon will get you that link because I'm going to get it to him, and you can send it out to everybody, Simon, and we will go from there. I've written a bunch of books, and you can check those out. Probably the book that has done the best for pastors is a book called When Your Church Feels Stuck. When Your Church Feels Stuck. And so, hey, it is, you can check that out, but man, it really is an honor to be able to be with you guys. And I wanted to jump right into today's topic. And I want to talk to you guys about this thing called the insecure leader. The insecure leader. Every one of us on here we're on here because we're leading something. We're leading some sort of group, we're leading a church, we're leading an organization. Maybe we're an associate pastor leading a certain department in the church, but one way or another, we're leading something. And we all struggle with this thing called insecurity. And here's the deal is when you're a leader and you're struggling with insecurity, but you're trying to lead, it makes it extremely difficult. And insecurity, it is, in my opinion, it is the thing that will determine how fast you go, and it will also determine how far you go. This thing called insecurity. So if you're taking notes, get ready to write some notes, and we're going to jump right into it. Here's the thing about insecurity. It's crazy. Think about these 10 powerful statements. Insecurity, it'll keep you from celebrating other people's wins. Isn't that true? Insecurity, it'll keep you in your heart from celebrating other people's wins. Insecurity, it'll keep you from admitting loss. We don't want to admit our church isn't doing that good. We don't want to admit things aren't going that well because we would have to admit loss. And our insecurity gets in the way of us admitting loss. Insecurity, it keeps you from admitting weakness. That's why a lot of pastors will never get coaching or they'll never get help because they don't want to show that they're weak or that there's a problem or that there's an issue or that they're hurting in an area. Insecurity, it'll keep you from admitting you need help.
बाबू ये शालिनी से ये वही है ना तो इंडियन है वो मोटी दिख रही है देखने में वही है
Keep going, Simon. We're good? Okay. Insecurity, it'll keep you from admitting you need help. We all, it's very difficult for us to admit that we need help. Insecurity, here's the next one. It'll keep you from learning new things because we want others to think we know everything. Insecurity will keep you from learning new things because we want everyone to think we know everything. Here's another thing. Insecurity, it will cause you to put someone down so you can be lifted up. When you're an insecure leader, it'll cause you to put someone down so that you can be lifted up. Insecurity, it'll cause you to cheat instead of lose. It'll cause you to cheat instead of lose. Insecurity, it'll cause you to power up when you should be opening up. Insecurity causes you to power up, causes you to feel like, hey, I got to power up. I got to feel like I'm in control rather than opening up that, hey, I'm struggling and my church isn't going as well and my ministry is not where it should be. Insecurity, it causes you to buy things just to impress people. That's a funny one, but it's true. And last one, insecurity, it'll cause you to feel good when others fail. Here's the thing, you guys and gals, is this. Insecurity is an enormous thing in our lives as a leader, because here's why. We look at other people and we think, why are they doing so good? Why is that guy's church growing? Why is that ministry doing so well? I read the Bible as much as they do. I know the verses as much as they do. I pray as much as they do. Why is their ministry going well and mine isn't going that well? And I have been there. I've sat in front of a desk of a pastor that I was coaching one time, and it was my first day meeting him. And he picked up the phone and he started talking, and I could tell the tone of his voice got more depressed. He was like, "Oh, that's great. That's great." And he was talking to a friend. What had happened was when he hung up, he told me that his friend down the street, the church is launching their third service, and he's still at one service. And he looked at me and he says, "Why does his grow and mine doesn't?" There's an insecurity that we have because we are constantly comparing to other people. We're constantly looking at someone else's ministry. We look at how good they do, the building that they have, the ministry that they have, the invitations they get to speak at places, and that insecurity drives us. And so we inside, we don't, on the outside, we are like, "Hey, brother, you're doing great." But on the inside, we secretly want them to fail. Or we secretly, maybe we don't want them to fail. We just don't want them to do better than we do because of insecurity. And one of the biggest battles as I travel across the nation and the world and talk to different leaders all over the place is that we all struggle with insecurity. Now, here's the thing. I don't think insecurity is a problem to solve. I think it's a tension to manage. We're all going to have insecurity. I don't know of anybody on the planet. I've talked to some of the biggest leaders in the world, sat at a table with Joel Osteen and just a bunch of guys sitting there and hearing these guys talk about insecurity, and everybody has it. So it's not a problem to solve as much as it is a tension to manage. But we all have this thing called insecurity. Now, here's the problem. When you're an insecure leader, here's what happens. You're an insecure leader and everybody around you knows it. They know you're insecure. They can feel it. And you keep them down a little bit. You don't let them shine as much. You don't let them do certain things. Your team feels it. Your church or the ministry you have, it's not going to grow to the level it could grow to if you hang on to this thing called insecurity. Insecurity will cause you to not lead your team well. It'll cause you to not take your ministry as far as it can go. It gets corruptive and corrodes inside of our heart, and it creates a lot of problems. Insecurity is a lousy place to lead from because it always creates problems. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 8. I'm going to give you 8 signs of an insecure leader. What I want you to do is I want you to identify which of the top 1 or 2 or 3 best describes you. So 8 signs of an insecure leader. And then I want you to, as you write down these signs of an insecure leader, think of the 1 or 2 or 3 that best describes you so that you can personalize it. So let me give you 8 signs of an insecure leader. Number 1, 8 signs of an insecure leader. Number 1, insecure leaders feel secretly threatened by great talent. 8 signs of an insecure leader. Sign number 1 of an insecure leader. Maybe this is you. Insecure leader feels secretly threatened by great talent. We look at other staff members and other people in our team or whatever, and we think, what if they outshine me? What if they speak better than me? What if they lead worship better than me? What if people gravitate to them more than they gravitate to me? Insecure leaders feel secretly threatened. We don't let anybody know. We don't let anybody know that we're threatened by that pastor across the street or that staff member or that person, but insecure leaders feel secretly threatened. And when you are secretly threatened by great leaders and great talent, when we are secretly threatened by great talent, here's 2 things that'll happen. We'll hold the team back, and we struggle with celebrating other pastors' wins. We hold our team back. We don't want our team to grow too much. We don't want them to outshine us. And we struggle with celebrating other pastors' wins because of this thing that we have of insecurity. So 8 signs of an insecure leader. That first sign, and you got to ask yourself, are you one of these people? Are you a leader that is secretly threatened by great talent? Secretly. In other words, you've never told anybody, but you're secretly threatened by great talent. Number two sign of an insecure leader. There's 8 signs of an insecure leader. Number 2, insecure leaders deflect when confronted. Insecure leaders deflect when confronted. In other words, when someone confronts, we push it off. We find an excuse. We find a reason. Here's why my ministry isn't growing. Here's why this isn't happening. Here's why this isn't going right. Maybe someone challenges you on your ministry, a board member, a staff member, and we deflect when confronted because we don't want to hear what they have to say because we're an insecure leader and we're going to deflect when confronted by someone else. So, sign number 1, are you a leader that is secretly threatened by great talent? Sign number 2, are you a leader that deflects? An insecure leader deflects when confronted. I don't want someone to confront me because I want to see or view or come across as if I have it all together when I don't. Number 3, insecure leaders. Number 3, signs of an insecure leader. Insecure leaders struggle with comparison. That is a big one. And we talked a little bit about that already. Let me tell you something, you guys. Comparing never works. When you compare to another pastor or another ministry because we're insecure and we're trying to see whether or not we measure up, when you compare, you always lose. And here's why you always lose. If you're better than the other leader, you get prideful. If you're not as good as the other leader you're comparing to, you get insecure. And either way, you lose. You either get prideful or you get insecure, but either way, you lose. Let me tell you something about comparison. Your competition is not with another pastor. Your competition is with what's possible for you. Let me say that again. Your competition is not with another pastor. It's not with another church. Your competition is with what's possible for you. What has God designed you? To one, he gives 5 talents, to one, he gives 2, to one, he gives 1 talent. Whatever God has given you, that's what we're accountable to. We're not accountable to compare or to keep up with another pastor. The only thing we're accountable is, this is how much talent I've given you. This is how much gifting I've given you. This is how many days on the earth I've given you. Now go and do the best you can with it. That's our competition. But if we spend time comparing, if we spend time looking at other pastors and comparing the size of their church, the size of their building, the conferences they speak at, the books that they write, if we spend time comparing, we will always lose. We get prideful or we get insecure. And let me tell you something. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I've written several books and I get to speak a lot, but I still struggle with insecurity big time. I look at other pastors and I'll flip through my phone, go and flip through and see something on Facebook and be like, why does that guy being invited to speak at that conference and not me? I'm a better speaker than he is. My church is bigger than his. My ministry, why is he being invited? I still struggle it, and I hate that thing about me. I really do. But we all have to come to that place where we admit, man, I'm an insecure leader. So remember now, 8 signs of an insecure leader. You either are someone that is being secretly threatened by great talent. You deflect when confronted. That's sign number 2. Sign number 3 is you're always comparing, secretly comparing. Let me give you sign number 4 that you might be an insecure leader. Insecure leaders, number 4, insecure leaders find their self-worth from their latest result. Insecure leaders find their self-worth from their latest result. Don't we all struggle with that? How big was the offering last week? How many people showed up on Sunday? This Sunday is Easter. We're all going to feel really good come Monday morning. But then the next Sunday, when it gets back to normal, then we're back to feeling insecure again, because insecure leaders find their self-worth from their latest result. One of the books that I wrote was called Quit Church, Quit. And the subtitle was Because Your Life Would Be Better If You Did. When you write a book called Quit Church and their subtitle is Because Your Life Would Be Better Than You Did If You Did, you get a lot of attention. And believe me, we did. Now, clearly, I'm not telling people to quit church. I'm saying to quit approaching church and being in the body of Christ the way that you're doing it, go all in. The whole theme of the book is if you go all in, God will go all out. But that book, Quit Church, Fox News, I did an interview with Fox News. Then they did an article on foxnews.com with like 50 million readers. And in 1 hour, we received 16,000 emails, 1 hour. It was just, and it just kept coming in. And then they wanted us to write another article and another article and another article because we were trending higher than the news of North Korea, than the president. This book, this theme was, for whatever reason, catch momentum. Now, here's the thing. It was incredible. We were on all sorts of stuff, and it was amazing what God was doing. 30 different radio and TV shows, all sorts of things. But here's the thing. After about 3 or 4 weeks, the book just went, and no one called me anymore. I wasn't being invited to Fox News, wasn't being invited to that podcast or that radio show. Just woke up one day and I thought, all right, who's going to call me today, man? Where do they want me to make an appearance? And the phone just stopped ringing. And all of a sudden I was feeling high on the hog, like, man, I've got this great book. And then all of a sudden it went, boom, and it just plummeted. And I was like, wow, that was fast. You know why? Because I'm guilty like you of allowing my self-worth to be attached to my latest result. And as soon as that result fades away, insecurity comes right back in. Insecure leaders find their self-worth from their latest result, and you will always lose that way. Let me give you number 5. Insecure leaders find it hard to ask for help. Insecure leaders find it hard to ask for help. I'm always amazed. Here's what's going to amaze me. I'm going to give the link. We're creating that link this week. I'm going to give it to Simon. He's going to send it out to all of you. I'm always amazed how I'll stand up in front of 500 pastors and give them a free opportunity to get free help to help grow their church, and 20% will respond. And I'm thinking, why is that? They want their church to grow, but they don't want to admit that they need help. Insecure leaders find it hard to ask for help. Here's what I've learned. Ready? You might want to write this down because it's a great statement for the future. Professionals get coached. Amateurs learn by trial and error. Professionals get coached. Amateurs learn by trial and error. I have 2 coaches in my life. Actually, I have 3. I have a spiritual coach, I have a leadership coach, and I have an organizational coach. I pay them money and I get coaching from them. One of my coaches I've had for 12 years, one of them for 6. Why so long? Because they keep teaching me and I keep learning and I keep growing and I keep developing. And I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for these guys in my life. You have to be willing to ask for help. Let me tell you something. The fact is that you got to constantly be growing and constantly be evolving as a leader and growing as a leader and having someone speak into your life, a coach, these kind of things that Simon provides. All these things are important for us. Here's why. Because if you don't listen to this now, if you don't grab change, like I'm going to grow, I'm going to develop, I'm going to get a coach. If you don't grab change by the hand, it will grab you by the throat. If you don't grab change by the hand, say, okay, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to grow. I'm going to develop. I'm going to read books. I'm going to develop. I need help. I'm not the best. If you don't grab change by the hand, it'll grab you by the throat. It'll choke out your life. It'll choke out who you are. It always does. Let me give you number 6. Remember, we're doing 8 signs of an insecure leader. Number 6. Insecure leaders want to have all the best ideas. Insecure leaders want to have all the best ideas. Maybe you struggle with that. Maybe when you're in the room with your team and they have an idea, you struggle that someone else has better ideas than you. Listen to me. This is something that I believe with all my heart and I live by. If I'm the smartest person in the room, I want to find a new room. I do not want to always have to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be in a room where I'm learning, where I'm growing, where I've got leaders around me that are challenging me, that are making me better. If you've got to be the smartest leader in the room, you're never going to grow, and your ministry will never grow because it will only grow to your ideas, and your ideas aren't everything. Get other people around you, get coaches around you, your staff around you, get creative people around you. Don't be so insecure that you're the one that's got to have the best idea in the room. You'll never grow that way, and you'll cause your team to feel like, why should they speak up? Why should I speak up as a team leader on this team? Because when I bring up an idea, it just falls to the ground because he's not going to take it or she's not going to take it. Don't be that person. Let me give you number 7. Insecure leaders are control freaks. Insecure leaders are control freaks. What is a control freak? It means that you have to be in control of everything, that you can't delegate and you can't give away authority and you can't let someone else shine, and you've got to be the person. You've got to be the one everybody looks to. You've got to be the godly person that everyone looks to. And insecure leaders, they're control freaks. They want to make sure that they're totally in control. They don't trust other leaders. They don't trust other team players. They don't trust other staff. They've got to be in total control. And if you lead from that, here's what you're telling your people. When you lead from a control freak type leader, you're telling your team, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And man, once that's broken, you tell them, if you're a control freak, you're saying, I don't trust you. And when trust is broken, you're going to have a hard time building a team because they don't trust you. They don't trust you because you're always, they don't feel like you trust them because you're controlling everything. You're checking on everything. You're making sure everything is exactly the way you want it. And you got to have the best ideas, and you got to control this, and everybody's got to come to you, and you got to be the answer person. I'm telling you, here's the lid, and you're going to hit it every time. You're going to hit the lid every time if you're the control freak. Write these things down. Ready? A control freak leader. Here's what happens. Control freak leader and an influence leader. A control freak leader, they've got to have control of everything. An influence leader is someone that influences and empowers other people. Influences and empowers other people. If you're a control freak leader, people follow you because they have to. You sign the check, you're the boss, whatever. A control freak leader, people follow you because they have to. An influence leader, people follow you because they want to. Control freak leader, people follow you because they have to. Influence leader, people follow you because they want to. Let me give you one more. A control freak leader, that will give you compliance. An influence leader will give you alliance. Totally different. A control freak leader, you're going to get compliance. People are just going to comply. They're going to listen to you. You're the boss. They, serve God, serve you, serve the leader, but they really don't want to, but they'll comply. A control freak leader gets compliance. An influence leader gets alliance. It's completely different. Let me give you number 8. We're almost done. Number 8, sign of an insecure leader. We've been through 7 of them. Here's number 8. Insecure leaders never develop people, they replace them. Insecure leaders never develop people, they replace them. In other words, when that person starts shining too much, when that person starts getting too big, we kind of push them to the side, find another place of ministry, replace them, whatever, because we can't let go of authority and we can't let someone outshine us. And so instead of developing leaders to be beyond who we are, we'll just replace them when they get to as high as we are. Catch that? Instead of just building people beyond where we're at, we'll replace them when they get to where we're at. And that always creates a problem. Now, here's the deal. Decide which one, two, look at the list real quick. Decide which one or two best describes you. Which one is you? It's like, man, I struggle with that. I already admitted where I struggled. So admit to yourself, this is where I struggle. I'm going to be honest. Be honest. Be transparent. Now, let me give you a couple last thoughts and we'll wrap it up. Here's the deal. When you're an insecure leader, you will unintentionally put a lid on the organization. You got to deal with this insecurity. Listen to me. You have to deal with that insecurity because number one, you will put a lid on the organization. You don't want to put a lid on it. No one wants to, but you'll put a lid on the ministry. You'll put a lid on your church. You'll put a lid on whatever God's called you to do because of insecurity. It always puts a lid on the organization, and it will always cause this to happen. Team members will quietly and slowly disengage. You're going to put a lid on the organization if you don't deal with the insecurity. And your team members around you, they're never going to say anything to you. They're just going to quietly and slowly disengage. Did you catch that? You might be thinking, I've got alliance. They really like me. No one ever complains. No, they're just quietly, slowly disengaging. That's what they're doing. Don't think that they're alliance if you're insecure and you're operating from that. They're just quietly and slowly disengaging. Last thought I want to give you, and then I'll turn it back over to Simon, is this. Ready? Here it is. When it comes to insecurity, you don't outlive it, you outgrow it. When it comes to insecurity, you don't outlive it, you outgrow it. What do I mean by that? Some of us might think, well, when I get 50, when I get 60, when I get 40, whatever your age is, when I get up to that certain age, I mean, the maturity, it'll cause me not to be insecure anymore. So I'll ultimately just outlive it. No, you won't. You can be 80 years old and incredibly insecure. You're not going to outlive it. Getting older doesn't erase insecurity. You have to outgrow it. You have to start admitting it. You got to be honest. You got to start getting coaching. You got to getting help. You got to go to your team. This is always funny. If you're struggling with insecurity, tell your team and be honest with them. It's not going to shock them. It's not, if you come in and go, I'm a really insecure leader, guys, and I just need your prayer. It's not like your team's going to look at you. Really? We didn't know that. They know. They know. Their team knows that you're insecure. You just need to admit it. But you got to outgrow it. You won't outlive it. Last thought is this. Peter, the disciple, one of my favorite characters in the Bible, because he was so insecure and God used him anyway. Insecure, chops off the ear of a leader, falls asleep in the garden, just denies Jesus, all of it. And then all of a sudden in Acts, he's this pastor of the first local church. He's bold, he's courageous, he's leading, he's making it happen, he's organizing. Something happened. It's not that he was, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, he was an okay preacher, and then over here he became a great preacher. He was an okay leader, he became a great leader. He was an okay this, and he became a great that. What happened from the Gospels to Acts? He finally dealt with his insecurity, and it happened in John 21. Finally dealt. He's not a different person. It's not like 100 years has passed. Why did Peter finally reach his potential? I'm sure there's several reasons, but one of them clearly is that he dealt with insecurity. If you want to reach your fullest potential to do the most amazing things you can for Jesus, deal with your insecurity. Peter went from here to here. He didn't change as a person so much, but he dealt with the insecurity. It's not like he became that much more talented. He just dealt with the insecurity. You deal with the insecurity, watch what will happen in your ministry.